Hi everyone, welcome to Crochet Collective again. This time, or today, we're going to be looking at how to read a pattern. So you're into crochet, you've trolled YouTube, you can't find what you want, so you think, I'll find a written pattern, but they all just look really overwhelming and you don't know where to start. I get it, I've been there too. The way I started, and it's a really good place to start, is if you find a really simple pattern on YouTube, like a beanie hat, for example, is as you're watching the video, write down what they're saying. Then you'll get an idea of what it is you're doing with your hook and what that means when written down. And eventually you'll gather your own shorthand for that. Now, with any pattern, the most important thing you need is to know whether or not you're working in UK or US terms. Okay? Really simple. They both kind of mean the same thing. It's just that if you pick the wrong one, you're going to end up with some wonky crochet. So UK and US. So if I pop this down here, I've got a few example patterns here that I'll show you. So the same stitches but called different things. So in the UK, you would have a double crochet, which is a DC. And in the US, you would have a single crochet. So that would be your insert the hook, pull up a loop, yarn over. Okay? So then what we call a treble crochet in the UK is your yarn over once, insert your hook, pull through two, pull through two again. So that in the UK is a treble crochet, but in America, that's a double crochet. So again, your half trebles and your half doubles are exactly what you would think they would be on that one. So that's your yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, pull through all three. Okay, so that would be your half treble crochet or your half double crochet. Okay, then you've got your double treble in the UK, which is your yarn over twice. So it's like a treble but twice, double treble. But in the US, as I'm sure you can imagine now, you would think would be like a treble double, but that doesn't make any sense. So they actually just call that a treble crochet, whereas we would call it a double treble. Okay, so that they're sort of, as you can see, interchangeable. They move down depending on how many yarn overs you're doing. Then obviously you've got your triple treble in the UK, which would be a double treble in the US. A slip stitch is always a slip stitch. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to know. You'll find at the beginning of any pattern, and this is really important, it will tell you what stitches you're going to need. So in something like a book, it will probably have at the beginning the abbreviations that will feature in the book. Okay, so if you don't know what the stitches are, it's a good thing to find a tutorial for those individual stitches. So sometimes it might just say increase, which means do two of whatever stitch it's suggesting into the same stitch. So if, for example, like in this one, it will say an increase, you would do two of that stitch into the same stitch. So you would do one and then you would go back in and do another one. So that would be an increase. But again, if you struggle with any of the individual stitches, there are plenty of tutorials for those. Again, you'll get that on most. Some, like this one, will just show each section of the pattern and what it is that you need to do. What most people will do is head to the special aisles of Aldi and pick up one of their crochet kits. Now these can be both a blessing and a curse in that they are renowned for having patterns that are not very well written or they have mistakes in them. So this one, it is a UK pattern, which I wrote on there. A really easy way to tell is If you see anything with single crochet, that's immediately a US pattern because we don't have that term in the UK. It'd be a double crochet. Okay, so these are all the stitches we're going to use. And anything unusual, it will usually also explain it. So this one says increase which is increase treble. So create 2 treble crochets in the next stitch, increase. Create 2 half treble crochets in the next stitch, increase. So if we turn to the pattern, it will explain that here. Now, what it would usually say on the patterns that I write anyway, is I would say whether or not that chain at the beginning of the round counts as your first stitch or not, because that can make a difference. So on this one, you'll see you've got 2 stars. So you've got increase, half treble, 1 half treble, and then repeat that. Usually that asterisk would be there. So you're going to do 2 half trebles in one stitch, 1 half treble in the next, and you're going to repeat that all the way around, and you should end up with 33 stitches. Again, on the Aldi patterns, don't be surprised if these don't add up, but as long as you're following the pattern, you should be okay. And this is what I'm going to show you today because it is where most people start. So you basically need to know whether it's UK or US, and you need to look at the abbreviations chart. You'll also, if it's not an Aldi pattern, you'll be told at the beginning of the pattern what you need. So for example, on this pair of socks that I've got, which I still haven't finished, you'll need, and then how many grams, what type of yarn, and what size hook you need, and any other special bits and bobs. Great thing with the Aldi ones, although the patterns aren't always great, they do come with everything you need. However, another word of warning about Aldi, you may also find that you run out of yarn before you finish. I think they expect everybody to crochet quite tight. So in this kit, we've got some DK yarn, we've got the white yarn, pom-pom marker, and then you do also get a little hook and a needle. The needles are great, the plastic, they might snap easily, but they're handy if you don't have a wide-eyed needle. The crochet hooks are just plastic and they are pretty flimsy. So I would say if you do have your own, use your own, either the slim metal ones, or I'm going to be using my own today. I'll just take that out of there. Okay, so I'll pop all of those back in there and let's start reading a pattern.